Today we are going to be looking at real life curses and the poor individuals that suffered as a result. Let's get on with it. Starting off this countdown, we have Midnight Mary. The Evergreen Cemetery in New Haven is known for being home to one of the most cursed graves. For Midnight Mary resides there, aka Mary E. Hart. Mary apparently passed away in 1872 under strange circumstances. Well, on her grave it reads, "The people shall be troubled at midnight and pass away." It's believed that Mary was a witch, and right before she died she cursed her grave. So if you visit her grave at midnight, the curse will become active and you will die. In our 9th spot we have the Cursed Mummy. Now this is an eerie legend that has been used to blame the sinking of the Titanic. Rumor has it that a painted wooden mummy board of an unknown woman was on the Titanic in transit to another museum. Previously it was stored at the British Museum. They acquired it in 1889. But it caused weird things to happen at the museum. Staff would hear loud banging coming from the artifact, and deep unhappiness to anyone who came in contact with it. It's also been blamed for death, illness, injuries, and bankruptcies. One night, a museum guard died mysteriously and everyone blamed the mummy. So the museum wanted to get rid of it as quickly as possible. As a result, an American archaeologist took the mummy on board with him on the Titanic. So now it's thought that having the cursed mummy on board is what caused the ship to sink. Coming in at number 8, we have the Voodoo Curse. In late August of 2006, a man named Franz Boards went crazy and took the lives of his before taking his own. In his final note he wrote that he was cursed and that someone was using voodoo to make him commit these crimes. That someone was his fiance's relatives. Apparently they were torturing him with voodoo curses, trying to ruin him. They didn't expect him to end up killing his in the process. That night he drowned them in the bathtub before jumping in front of a train. In our 7th spot we have Rasputin. Russian mystic and self-proclaimed holy man Rasputin ended up passing away in a terrible way. In fact, he didn't die immediately. It took a number of attempts before he actually died. Apparently he was poisoned, pushed down some stairs, he took a number of bullets to his body, and then he drowned. And that's when he finally passed. However, he mumbled a curse as he was dying. This curse was placed on the monarchs. He said that all of Russia's ruling monarchs would all be dead within a year. And his curse came true. That same year, all of the Romanov family monarchs were brutally murdered. Rasputin's dying wish came true. Moving on to number 6, we have the Haunted Gravesite. The most haunted gravesite in Japan is said to belong to a wealthy samurai named Tara no Masakado. He died on March 25th, 940 from a beheading, and ever since then he has been haunting his gravesite. In 1923, after Tokyo was struck by the Kanto earthquake, the government moved his monument and the Minister of Finance started to build a new building in that spot where it used to reside. But within days, he was hospitalized by a strange illness. He died after 3 months in the hospital, and no one knows why his health rapidly started to decline. But he wasn't the only one. 14 people from the construction company died mysteriously as well. So it's believed that his gravesite is cursed, and those that disturb it will suffer the consequences. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the West Branch Witch. This is another tombstone said to be haunted by a witch. It was first discovered in 1960 by a man named B.A. Evans. It was discovered after he purchased a piece of land. On his new plot, he later discovered that there was a small cemetery on it. The cemetery contained 7 gravestones surrounded by a 40-inch wall. The gravestones are apparently from a family named the Elliots. Now the headstone that gets the most attention is that of Clemenza. Clemenza was apparently killed by a group of townspeople after being accused of witchcraft. As a result, she was pressed to death. To this day, her grave is marked by a pile of stones that rests on top of it. Now, it's said that she haunts the graveyard and the surrounding area. In fact, on her tombstone is a curse that says, "Remember youth as you pass by." As you are now, so once was I. As I am now, so must you be. Prepare for death and follow me. Now, if you read that out loud by her grave, she will apparently cause you harm. But the most dangerous thing you could do would be to take some stones from her grave. Apparently, one night a group of kids took stones from her grave. That night, they all died on their way home in a car accident, except for the one kid that didn't take a stone. He was the lone survivor. In our fourth spot, we have Mary the Witch. Here we have another witch named Mary and another cursed tombstone. In 1731, an old gravesite in New Jersey got a new resident, Mary Moore, a local woman accused of being a witch. That's because she dressed peculiar, grew strange plants in her yard, and could make animals do some pretty strange things. So when Mary died, it was said that she cursed her grave. Apparently, if you walk around Mary's grave 3 times a night and spit, her spirit will appear to you. The only problem is that her grave was actually stolen. Several years ago, 2 boys stole the tombstone, but by doing so, unleashed the curse of Mary. They both died shortly afterwards. In our third spot, we have St. Anne's Well. St. Anne's Well in Liverpool used to be quite a magical place, like quite literally. It was believed to possess magical healing powers. If people bathed in the well, it would cleanse their sins, heal their skin, and cure diseases. That was until it got cursed. So the story goes that a local priest got into an argument with a man who owned some of the land near the well. As a result, he put a curse on the landowner, his family, and the well. Shortly after, the landowner's son died, and he lost most of his wealth. He then was later found dead right at the foot of the well. In our second spot, we have Rosemary's Baby. Now, this is said to be one of the most cursed movies ever made, and that's because tons of people associated with the production ended up suffering great misfortune. First, we have the composer who died randomly from a fall. Then we got the producer, William Castle. He was hospitalized with severe kidney stones and almost died. And of course, the wife of the director, Roman Polanski, Sharon Tate, ended up brutally murdered by the Manson family. So it's believed that somehow this production was cursed. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Annabelle. Here we have another horror movie with a cursed set. While shooting the 2014 horror film Annabelle, a number of scary things happened. First, the director saw a random 3-fingered handprint appear on a dusty window. This handprint resembled the 3-fingered demon in the movie, so everyone was spooked out. Next, a light fixture fell on the head of one of the actors. It happened in the same location where the character was killed in the movie. What are the odds? And Annabelle is based on the story of a real cursed doll, so maybe she was haunting the set, who knows?